When you think about your business, many of us, just like Ty and myself, we sit there and go, what can we do more? What can we do more to help serve and give? And so today we're going to focus in on one thing that many businesses don't do because they're so busy building their business, strategically growing, and then, of course, trying to deal with people and HR and everything else. But Ty, you have said this time and time again that really serving is the best way of growing and branding their business.
Yeah, Shar, I've lived this, right? When I've gotten to every city that I've moved to, I did some sort of serving. And, it started off when I lived in Europe. I started doing networking events and I wanted to serve the community by reinventing the way networking is done. All the way fast forward to when I moved here to Fort Lauderdale, I made sure that I joined community organizations, but I didn't just join, I participated in the councils and the committees, and I became a leader helping support the growth of these community organizations. And it did the job of letting people know who I was, what I was doing, what I was capable of. It allowed me to make a difference. It allowed me to contribute. And people saw that. They were able to respond and say, okay, he isn't just here for himself, he's actually here to contribute. I also got to learn and develop my skills as a leader and as somebody who knew business and learn things along the way by doing it in a volunteer way. One of the things I tell a lot of people is when you're trying to become a speaker or a coach, the first thing you should do is contact nonprofits that align with your message and volunteer to speak at those organizations. Provide them with your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and give them the benefit of that, but also use the recording, use the material, use the flyer that they have, and let the world know you've done this speech, you've done this event, you've worked with this nonprofit, and you don't have to be paid for it. Payment will come if you serve willingly, voluntarily, and for the goodness of the community. The money will come if that's your intent. And so these are just some of the ways that I believe you build your brand, you develop who you are, you become a better leader by giving back to your community.
Mm. And guys, you know what? It doesn't mean it has to be big and grandiose. I don't think that's what Ty is saying. I think Ty, you just shared that this has always been a part of who you are. It's always been a part of who we are, because we were the beneficiaries, guys, of we when people mentored us, coached us, when communities got around our businesses and our families, it allowed us to see the impact of serving. And so, Ty, I want to just to kind of give a couple of things that they can do, because I don't want it to feel like it's one more thing on their plate, right? Because it's already something they're doing.
Yeah, you do it, right? You go to networking events. You have to go to the networking event anyway, or you have to go to the Chamber of Commerce event,
Mhm.
or you have to go to, whatever private member organization you're going to the event. You can simply say, hey, I want to sit in on that committee, the planning committee, or I want to volunteer my time, or even this, I want to give a donation of a gift. And
Right.
that gift, if you're a coach, it could be 30-minute free coaching session, which is a lead generator for you, but it allows you to give back to the community. I want to give, a gift basket, but I want people to register on this QR code for the gift basket. So tying yourself into a cause, into an organization that you believe in, and supporting that with giving of your expertise, your time, products or services only helps the community understand and learn more about you,
Mm.
who you are, what you do, the value you provide. If you are looking to speak, it gives you that ability to speak to a large audience and practice your speaking skills, practice your synthesis of information, so where people can actually digest what you're saying. And then just allows you in general to share and grow with your community as you're building your brand.
Mm. And guys, you could probably look at today, right now, coming back from Memorial Day weekend. What are two or three things that people either emailed you about, either community groups that you're a part of? Maybe your kids go to school. Maybe there was a flyer at Starbucks when you went and got your coffee this morning. That's how easy it is to serve and build your brand, because a lot of you guys already are doing it. And I really appreciate
Yes.
that they're already doing it anyway. So let's talk about their brand and marketing, because I think a lot of people miss this step a lot. Ty, I can tell you how many times when we do audits and we do intakes, they forget the things that they're already doing and things that they're volunteering for or serving with, that they kind of go, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't know I could do that. I'm like, that's a form of marketing. So Ty, let's talk about some of the things that they could do for their branding and marketing that can really elevate their brand amongst their competitors.
Yeah. So first of all, before we jump into this, let me just be clear. This is something that Fortnite specializes in. So y- that scrolling URL you see at the bottom of the screen, if you're ever in doubt or you're looking for an opportunity to really sit down with somebody, fornexmarketing.com is where you reach out to, and Charlene will be happy to sit down and help you strategize how to take your brand and do much bigger, better things with it. But the basic things that we're talking about here are, your brand. For us, like, when we look at the YoPro brand, it's been around for 12 years. We've been serving youth and young professionals across the world with the different programs and things that we offer. And so for us, we're a nonprofit that's really dedicated to the elevation and advancement of youth and young professionals, regardless of the market that you're in. And so when we do things like host a conference, host an event, we have two sides of the market. We have speakers and people who are already serving and providing impact or have a really powerful story they want to tell. And then we have the recipients, the people who are attending the event, who are learning and benefiting from the knowledge, the information. And what we try to do is when organizing these events, I go to people who are in the community already, who are doing telling their story, or have told their story, who have told me parts of their story. And I ask him, there's somebody out there who wants to listen to this, right? You are already networking at events and telling people your story. You're already, going on podcasts. You're already sharing it with the world. Come share it to this forum. And that's how we recruit the speakers. And that's how we recruit people who we want to make an impact. And we bring them in, and then they get to tell their story in a focused way. And then we provide them that material, that recording to use for themselves. So they didn't go out of their way and do anything new. They might have had to polish their speech a little bit. They might have had to tailor it a little bit to the new audience, but it was a speech that they were already giving. It was a conversation they were already having. And so this is what we mean when we say you don't have to reinvent the wheel or do anything new. This is you just applying what you're already doing to a new audience, an audience that you're given the opportunity to. And I say all this really simply to say, tell your story to as many people as possible.
Mm,
Give your knowledge to people, because you never know which one of those people is hosting an event, doing a symposium, sitting on a panel that you can just jump on and be tagged into because you've shared some value that you can share with other people in other rooms.
Well, I love that, Ty, because I think, guys, remember, no one knows about you unless you're willing to tell about you. Super
Yeah,
simple.
yeah,
Ty, I think one thing too is logos. You guys are already working with, like, we work with Make a Wish Foundation in certain markets. We work with, the Wounded Warrior Project in certain markets. And so, guys, you can use that opportunity to actually tell people that you care. It tells people that you give. It tells people that you actually contribute to a community bigger than you. And so now the person feels like, okay, they care enough about their business, they're going to care enough about my business. And that can
exactly.
be translated, guys, faster than you trying to tell everyone. It actually can be found on your website, your LinkedIn, your business cards, things that, like when I talk about Ty and I tell people, hey, you got to talk to them about, your capital, you got to talk to them about some of your goals and your visions. And these are the other things he does. He gives back to the youth. He helps people at the chamber. What they do is they see a whole person
Yeah.
instead of seeing, oh, I got to talk to Ty because Shar said so. It's like, oh, no, no, no. He does all these things which give him credibility so that they trust him and that they want to do business.
And it rounds people out, right? They know you in one respect, they know you in one category. Like when I talk to people about finance, we sit down and we go through, and they know everything about finance. But to Shar's point, they don't know that we do nonprofit work, that we're coaching people on the side, that we're help
Mhm.
with the local community organizations, sitting on boards, advancing housing, doing all of those things. They just see finance. So you are already doing it, right? You just have to map out and say, how do I drop a little bit of this? How do I add my logos? How do I show my tagline? How do I round out my tagline? How do I tell clips of my story? Like, how do you share that with a wider audience? And it is making sure everybody knows as many things about you as possible without you diluting who you are. One great exercise, and you can use AI for this, is all of the things that you're doing. Write a little paragraph. My name is Shar and I do this. My name is Shar and I do this. And then load it in ChatGPT and say to Chat, okay, consolidate this into one brand positioning statement for me, and it will take everything and condense it. And I
Mm,
did this exercise myself, and I think it says, if ever there's a table, I have a seat at it. And or I create the tables or the rooms for people to advance and be successful in. And that really speaks to the fact that we can finance the success of a company
Right.
or develop the skill set of an individual or provide opportunities for youth. It rounds it out, right? It's not directly doing it, but it's giving me a starting point to have the conversation about
Mm,
what it means in the various contexts of how we work.
mm. And guys, that's your brand, right? Remember, you're a walking billboard. So the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the places you eat at, you're already marketing for them. Why not market for you and who you are in your business? Because you're already spending the time, the money, and the effort. And so,
Mhm.
Ty, when I think about a business owner, whether they're brand new or mature, right, at a 5, 10, $15 million mark, I always say, guys, you're always marketing, even though you may not think you need to market. Oh, okay, Shar, we're referral only. You're still marketing. Oh,
Mhm.
Shar, we're networking. That's how we got referrals. You're still marketing.
Yeah, and marketing isn't just building leads, right? Marketing is also establishing credibility because when you find a lead or somebody refers you, that person 9 times out of 10 looks you up before they make contact. And so it is making sure that, you know, people can endorse you, that you have a brand presence online, that, the recordings, the posts, and the statements that are being made endorse it. So whatever public display you're doing, it isn't just that display brings you a new customer, or a new lead, or a new potential buyer. That display also gives reassurance and credibility to people who are looking you up to decide if they want to do business with you. And so always, you're like Shar said, you're always marketing. It's just
Mhm.
making sure that that representation is exactly what you want it to be.
Well, and guys, let's just take a step back. I don't want you to do everything. I just want you to do one or two things really, really well. So, Ty, we've given them a couple of things: story selling. We've also told them, being able to network, what that pitch looks like, what that, rounding you out needs to be when you're talking and networking with people. We just want you to pick one or two. We're not
Yeah.
asking you to do it all. We're just saying pick one or two strategies we share today because it's going to help you get you what you want.
And if I can biasly just point you in a direction, develop that brand positioning statement that tells the world your story. If you
Mm.
can get that right, it gives you a launching pad to then pick and choose the other things you want to do next.
Exactly. So start today, guys. You're going into Q3. We know that it's crunch time coming back from a Memorial Day weekend. You're thinking, oh my goodness, it's summer. And yet you still got to get your sales in, your marketing. You still got to get some of the growth plans, hiring, firing. I mean, we know what it takes to run a business. We just want to give you one or two things every day that help you move the needle in your business.
100%.
Oh, thanks so much, Ty. Every single week, guys, we get together to help you realize what it takes to grow your business. It's not all these things, it's just one or two things really well and consistent over time. Thanks so
Yep.
much, Ty.
Thanks, Shar. Have a great week.
Thank you.